Right. How much money do you think that is? That's a lot, right? I mean, if each one is $100, it is. One is about $10,000, one little brick, and that's a lot of bricks. The answer, I have no idea. It's just a lot of money. Who wants some? Would you like it? All of it? At least some of it, right? Yeah, it's a great thing to have money. And that's why I also went and studied business a long time ago. In the early 90s, I decided to go to Gujarat, the home of the South Asian MBA, the Marwari business acumen, right? You know, where they don't need to study. We didn't have one Gujarati in the class. But all the rest of the world was trying to learn how to do that. So, of course, because we're doing an MBA, we learned about two very big principles. We learned about a lot of things in the 2 years that we were there, a lot of things. But two things that always stand out when you learn business is that you need to profit maximize and you need to cost minimize. That's the only way you can do it. It's very simple, right? So you had to do that. All right, I came charged with that and then started doing my work in '93. And 10 years later, I was unlearning everything that I'd ever learned. Yeah? It was a process, it was a difficult process. I think it's still difficult right now to unlearn everything that I've gone through. Yeah? That it's not just about cost maximization, cost minimization, it's not only about profit maximization. So over time, I went through market research, worked in consumer durables, non-durables, a lot of research. Then I went through fair trade, manufacturing, the latest one even making sweaters for H&M. You know, we had a factory that was massive. And then the bottom fell out of the manufacturing industry. The Maoists came in, and then it was extortion, a lot of problems. And after that, I decided that I wanted to start something based on something that I was really deeply felt, and this was about trying to do things differently. So while I set up the company, Social Tours, the name of the company, I did so with, starting with the basics, making a vision, mission, values, trying to work through that, and had a very grandiose, vision of seeing the world where tourism supports development. A lot of missions. One was about linked prosperity, so that everybody can earn, and it's not just one person earning. But one of the things that I had in the values, we had a 6-point value. Everybody can look it up on the website. That's an easy one. But one of the values that was really important for me was money is not the goal. Yeah? That was the most important value that I had to actually stick into my head. And that was very strongly, and I was very proud of this. Money is not the goal, until my accountant came along. Yeah? So Naresh, he's not in the room, so I can talk about him. He came along and he said, no, that cannot be. You cannot say that. It's impossible. So we had a lot of back and forth, until, of course, he won. So I had to change it to, money is not the only goal. Right? And this is where it comes back to the whole point of greed. Greed, I think, is the only motivation, very strong motivation that humans have. Right? All of us have it. Is anybody here not greedy? It's probably impossible to have that, right? We greed for money, we greed for a house, we greed for a car. Everything is about greed. But what I've realized over time is that greed is very important. Without that, you'd not have businesses, you'd not have people having the drive. But if you just concentrate on greed, you actually are too limited. You get stuck. So the important thing out here is to just move a little away from it, reduce the greed. I'm not saying not have greed at all. It's impossible to do that. Reduce the greed a little bit, and if you do that, you actually free up time and resource, mostly time, because greed really sits in your head, mostly time, to actually do a lot of other things. So the next years after 2002 was all about trying to do that. So where did that take us? Stopped working. So can I have the next one, please? It's not working anymore. Orca slide. Right, anyways. So anyway, after that, it was all a process of actually going deeper and deeper into learning and actually advancing my whole process of unlearning as well. But at the same time, I could start working on fair trade. I could start working on women empowerment. I could start working on, one of the very interesting thing is no vertical integration. So in business, we always said cost minimize. So you bring everything into your fold. If you're a travel company, own a hotel, own an airline, own everything, then you cost minimize. But we said, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to own anything. We're just going to provide the services. We're going to spread the money. So that is a part of fair trade as well. Then we started working on recycling, reuse. Everything can be recycled and reused. Alternative energy. We put 75% of our power was powered by solar. Educating travelers all the time about these processes. Gender equality, commodification of culture, like the Tharu stick dance that happens 6 times a day in Chitwan is wrong, So we started saying, no, we cannot do that. Giving back to society, we started doing a lot of charity. And people who know me know that I love cycling, and I do a big event on cycling and charity. And then spreading the practice, trying to talk to people, spreading it. So a lot of stuff that we did, right? So it allowed that process to foster. Then recently, we also started a conscious living space, along with my wife's business, Karma Coffee, and then this is also about teaching people how to do conscious living, all because we just reduced that idea that you should only concentrate on money. And then also the recent little thing that I'm trying to do is working on the power of transformation through travel. And this is a fascinating thing. Nepal is a great place for this. And so that is another thing that we're working on right now. Again, freeing up time to actually get that done. And also spreading it in the world. I also run something in Norway. Anyways, so the benefit of this, right? This is the important part. A little bit of the proof side is seeing how you can benefit out of that. There's a lot of benefits. Let's not go into all of that. But then the team had a better office environment. For me, that was important. That everybody felt like we're doing something important. This is really good for us. And in business, it gave us a market leader image. Suddenly, we're not market leaders because we had the maximum shares of the market. Market leader because we're doing something different. Customers really felt like they made a good choice. They said, wow, going with this company really makes sense. And the stakeholders were all happy. And by stakeholders, I mean the broader stakeholders. We have about 250, 300 stakeholders. The guy who brings the water, the guy the bank, all these people, all of them started feeling really good. So, and personally, I felt a lot of contentment. I said, wow, this works. I'm not only concentrating on money, but this is really good fun. I still don't own a car, though. But, yeah, it's okay. I have a bicycle, and I'm fine. So the control of greed, in a sense, proven to me, I don't know about others, is that it makes perfect business sense. Yeah? And it's really good for you. Yeah? It's really, really good for you. So what I'm trying to do today is going to be trying to break this down into processes that hopefully you can take home, right? So that maybe others can also benefit from this. So, back to the gentleman out there with the light. The control of greed. One thing, like I told you before, was that one over there, was unlearn everything that you know, or be ready at least to unlearn. Don't be stuck on what was taught to you. You got to be ready to just say, no, there could be something else that is possible. Yeah? And if you do that, there's a chance that you'll open up your minds to actually think something different. The next thing is, never get your eyes off the values. If you have built a value out there, stick to it. And this is always very difficult. If you say money is not the only goal and you need to go on a holiday, then you start getting stuck. Oh my God, where do I get the money now? Yeah? But then you have to start thinking, can I go holiday nearby? Can I do something else? So if you start thinking, you start actually moving along, and then you start, getting it to the right place. And that is very, very important. Yeah? Focusing on the value. Never forget that. The next thing is very important. Get your head out of the books. Stop looking at your statements. In business, stop looking at the profit and loss, or at least look at it, but not too much, you know. Try to control yourself, because if you don't control yourself, those spreadsheets will drive you nuts. Yeah? It will drive you nuts, because the damn multiplication thing that you have just allows you to do all sorts of things and look at possibilities and go, wow, wow, I can do this, I can do this. And then you get stuck in it. Or if you see a little loss, you get stuck in it. Don't get yourself stuck. Yeah? Because, again, money is not the only goal, right? So you got to remember that all the time. Listen to yourself. This is very important. Because we are too willing to listen to others. We listen to advertising, we listen to friends, we listen to family, we listen to everybody around us, and we get stuck with that. And everybody tells us, oh, you need a house. Why are you not taking a loan? If you get this good deal for a car, you should take it. Yeah, and then you get stuck with credit. And I'm like, oh man, I can't do this. You know? So you have to really listen to yourself and keep that focus really, really alive. And that is very, very important. I'll give you an example. Just recently, I think 3 days ago, there are some bankers in this room, so I should not actually say this. But I had a call from my bank. I won't say which bank. I had a call from my bank, and they said, sir, have you taken the credit card? I said, yeah, I had taken it a long time ago, but now I don't have it anymore. He said, do you want to take it again? I said, no, I'm very happy with my debit card. Thank you very much. I don't want to live in credit. I'm happy with the money that I have, and I'll just use that. And if I don't have any, I won't use it. But if I take the credit, it very quickly amplifies into using money that you don't have. And that it transcends to, how will I earn it to actually pay it back? And it keeps on going in this cycle that you don't want to get into. So if you don't lose that focus, you'll start listening to yourself and say, well, there's another way to do it. There's always a way to do it. That's important. And lastly, it's very important to adjust your lifestyle. Like I said, a bicycle is fine. Yeah? Or my wife is a designer and she does interiors, and she made this beautiful table for the kitchen, you know, a wooden table. And then because she likes it that way, she says, we'll have a small fridge. So I said, what about the beer? No, that's kind of important. I said, okay, we'll just fill it with beer, nothing else. What that does is that we buy fresh food every time. Yeah, I don't need a big fridge, actually. Why should I get a big fridge and buy at the beginning of the month everything? It's unnecessary. I can buy it every day. And if you actually adjust your lifestyle a little bit, you stop getting into this cycle of credits and cycle of, you know, trying to get more. So the adjustment of lifestyle is very important. And if you think through, you'll get it through. So there you go. If I just bring it down so that you can take it as a principle, unlearn what you know, very important. Focus on the values all the time. Very importantly, get your head out of the books. Stop looking at the numbers all the time. Listen to yourself and adjust your lifestyle. Simple as that. That could probably help you as it helped me in business and in life. Thank you very much.